Imagine out of nowhere life throws you a curveball that turns your world upside down. It was an ordinary day like any other until it wasn't. Suddenly, the ground beneath my feet shook, and before I knew it, I was in the midst of an unexpected storm. A life-altering event that came without warning and without mercy. The first wave of shock was almost paralyzing. It felt like a cold, icy hand gripping my heart, squeezing the breath out of me. The world around me became blurry, and for a moment time seemed to stand still. I was lost, unprepared for the tumultuous sea of emotions that crashed over me. The initial despair was overwhelming, like a thick fog that clouded my thoughts. I had always been a planner, always ready for the next step. But this was something I could never have anticipated. In the blink of an eye, I was standing at the edge of an abyss, staring into the unknown. The struggle was real and it was hard, but it was in this hardship that I found my strength. The early days were like walking through a dense fog, where every step felt uncertain, every decision fraught with doubt. There was no roadmap, no guidebook, no well-trodden path to follow. I was navigating through uncharted territory, and the fear of the unknown was a constant companion. The difficulties I encountered were like towering mountains, seemingly insurmountable. There were days when I felt like I was clawing my way up a steep cliff, with every little progress met with a new challenge, a new obstacle. There were moments when the weight of the struggle felt so heavy, it was like carrying the world on my shoulders. The emotional turmoil was a whirlwind, a maelstrom that threatened to engulf me. There were waves of sadness, torrents of frustration, and undercurrents of anger. The tears flowed freely, and laughter seemed like a distant memory. The feeling of loneliness was like a gaping chasm, a void that seemed impossible to fill. It felt like I was in a room full of people, yet completely alone. The support of friends and family felt like a lifeline, but there were moments when even their comforting words rang hollow. And then there was the constant battle with self-doubt. The nagging voice in the back of my mind that whispered I wasn't strong enough, good enough, brave enough, that I wouldn't make it through. But each time the voice whispered, I would shout back. I would tell myself that I am capable, that I am resilient, that I can overcome this. The struggle was a series of battles, each one harder than the last. It was a test of endurance, a test of willpower, a test of character. But amidst the struggle, amidst the hardship, I found my strength. I discovered a resilience within me that I never knew existed. Every night was a battle, every morning a war, but I was not ready to surrender, not yet. The struggle was just beginning, and I was prepared to fight. It's in the darkest moments that we find our greatest strengths. A profound realization that can only be fully understood when one is engulfed in a storm of struggle. For me, the turning point came when I realized that the struggle was not an adversary to be defeated, but a teacher, a guide, a catalyst for change. I was in the midst of the storm, the winds of adversity blowing fiercely, threatening to uproot me. But it was in this moment, when the storm appeared insurmountable, that I found a seed of resilience within me. A seed that lay dormant, waiting for the right conditions, the right storm, to awaken. So, I made a decision, not just to weather the storm, but to grow in it. I began taking steps, small but significant, towards self-improvement. I started reading books, seeking wisdom from those who had weathered their own storms. I began to practice mindfulness, learning to stay present even in the face of adversity. I started to exercise, understanding the importance of a healthy body for a resilient mind. And most importantly, I learned to embrace the struggle, to see it not as a burden, but as an opportunity for growth. Each step was a journey in itself, a journey towards resilience. There were times when the winds blew stronger, threatening to knock me down. But each time I got back up, dusted myself off, and took another step. Because I had learned that the journey wasn't about avoiding the storm, it was about learning to dance in the rain. This road to resilience was not easy. It was filled with challenges, with obstacles, with moments of doubt. But with each step, I grew stronger. With each fall, I learned a lesson. And with each victory, no matter how small, I found the courage to keep going. Every step was a victory, every fall a lesson. I was not just surviving, I was learning to live again. Because resilience isn't about surviving the storm, it's about learning to thrive in it. In the midst of chaos, I found my breakthrough. It was a moment as bright and clear as the dawn following the darkest night. It was an instant that marked the end of a struggle and the beginning of a new chapter. Imagine, if you will, the sensation of a tremendous weight being lifted off your shoulders. That was what it felt like, only 1,000 times more intense. The feeling of accomplishment was a heady mix of relief, pride, and pure, unadulterated joy. It was a euphoria that surged through every fiber of my being, making me feel invincible. It was the sweetest victory, born from the bitterest of struggles. But this breakthrough was more than just a triumph over adversity. It was a testament to the growth I had experienced along the way. Every stumble, every setback had been a lesson, each one contributing to my development. The journey had chiseled away my doubts, my fears, and my insecurities, leaving behind a stronger, more resilient version of myself. I had discovered strengths I never knew I possessed. I found out that I could withstand more than I ever thought possible. I learned that I could rise, time and time again, no matter how hard I fell. I realized that I could navigate through the storm, not just endure it. It was a profound transformation that went beyond the physical. It was a metamorphosis of the spirit, the mind. I found wisdom in the midst of turmoil, courage in the face of adversity, and hope in the heart of despair. In the end, this breakthrough was not just about overcoming a struggle. It was about the person I had become in the process. It was about the growth, the evolution that had taken place within me. And so, I had crossed the abyss, not just survived it. I was stronger, wiser, and most importantly, I was free. Free from the shackles of fear and doubt. Free to embrace the future with open arms. Free to be the person I was always meant to be. The journey was arduous, but it was the most enlightening experience of my life. The road may have been pitted with difficulties, and the nights filled with doubts, but every step taken, every hurdle overcome, was a testament to the indomitable spirit that resides within us. It was a journey that was more than just a struggle. It was an expedition of self-discovery, a pilgrimage to the core of my being. The lessons learned were many, each more profound than the last. The first was resilience. Resilience is not just about standing tall in the face of adversity. It's about bending, flexing, and adapting to the winds of change. Remember, a tree that bends in the storm often outlives the one that stands rigid. The second lesson was about self-belief. It's easy to believe in oneself when the skies are clear and the path is smooth. But it's in the thundering storms and the treacherous paths that self-belief truly shines. It's the beacon that guides us through the darkest nights, and the anchor that holds us steady in the roughest seas. And perhaps the most transformative lesson of all was about the power of change. Change is not always comfortable or welcome, but it is inevitable. It's the law of life. Instead of resisting it, we must learn to embrace it. For it's through change that we grow, evolve, and come to understand our true potential. So let's face it, life will throw challenges at us, but we must remember that these are not roadblocks, but opportunities for growth. They are the chisels that shape us, the fires that temper us, and the winds that propel us forward. In the face of adversity, remember, the journey is the destination, and every challenge is just another stepping stone on the path to self-discovery. I share my journey, not to highlight my struggles, but to inspire you to overcome yours. Just as a seedling pushes through the dirt, reaching for the sunlight, we too can find strength in adversity. It's not about ignoring the struggle or pretending it doesn't exist. It's about acknowledging it, embracing it, and using it as fuel to propel us forward. It's about resilience and self-belief. Each challenge we face is like a chisel, shaping us into the unique and beautiful masterpiece we are meant to be. The struggles we endure aren't meant to break us, but to forge us, to make us stronger and more resilient. We are not defined by our struggles, but by how we rise after falling. So, when you find yourself in the midst of a storm, don't lose hope. Dig deep, hold on, and keep pushing. Remember, storms make trees take deeper roots, so weather your storm and let it lead you to your breakthrough.